What if the rise of a prospect also means the silent end of a veteran? The NFL doesn't announce when it changes direction. It just does. And sometimes that change arrives without scandal, without fanfare, just with a new name being called on draft day. This is Commanders Fan News today, and what we're about to reveal might signal the end of a journey that seemed like it was just beginning. Noah Igbinoghene, one of the most consistent names on special teams and a solid piece in Washington's pass defense in 2024, now sees his position threatened, not because of a decline in performance, but due to the inevitable roster renewal. The arrival of Trey Amos, a young cornerback out of Ole Miss, may seem like just another addition. But behind the scenes, this move says much more. Amos is viewed as a perimeter talent, physical, smart, and ready to compete from the very first snap. Alongside him, names like Marshawn Lattimore and Mike Sainristil will reshape the secondary rotation, pushing Igbinoghene into a zone of uncertainty. According to Pro Football Network, the situation is clear. With Amos on the team, Sainristil moves back to nickel, his natural position, and that drastically reduces Igbinoghene's space. The math of the roster is cruel. Talent doesn't guarantee a spot, especially when the focus is on long-term construction. And that's where the question arises. In a league driven by youth and versatility, is there still room for quiet but effective experience? As a fan, it's hard to accept that a player who contributed with stability might be discarded so quickly. But that's exactly why we love and hate this sport, because it waits for no one. If you enjoy deep analysis and updates like this, don't forget to subscribe to the Commanders Fan News Today channel. Here, every behind-the-scenes moment matters. Every decision is broken down, and no name goes unnoticed. But maybe what bothers fans the most isn't Igbinoghene's potential departure. It's what it represents. It represents the end of a cycle. It represents the cold way the NFL treats its silent workers. Players who don't make magazine covers but are there every week, blocking, covering, silencing receivers in silence. That's exactly who Noah was in 2024. 10 games as a starter. Consistency. Commitment. Nothing glamorous, but essential. But the NFL has no long memory. And the current Commanders' leadership isn't here to hand out favors. Adam Peters made it clear from the start. He's building a roster based on production and projection, not the past or sentiment. And to be fair, this philosophy is already bearing fruit. The 2025 draft was lean, direct, and surgical. Priorities were well-defined. And the defense, with young players like Amos arriving, gains new energy, a new tone. But where does that leave Igbinoghene? Will he be traded to strengthen another part of the roster? Released to clear cap space? Or maybe he'll surprise everyone and fight, once again, against the odds like he's done before? One thing is certain, every snap from now on will be a battle. And the atmosphere in Washington is far from stable. The internal competition in the secondary promises to be one of the fiercest of the preseason. And true football fans know that it's in this kind of tension that great stories are born. Stories of resilience, of comebacks, of redemption. What if Igbinoghene still has one final chapter to write in this jersey? If you, like me, are paying close attention to every move, every signal that might indicate the direction of our Commanders, then subscribe now to the Commanders Fan News Today channel. Because here, we don't just follow the facts, we live every detail. And don't be mistaken, behind the technical decisions, a philosophy is being built. Adam Peters isn't just signing players, he's designing an identity. A team that doesn't rely on famous names, but on fit. A roster where every piece has to justify its presence daily, in practices, in the locker room, or on the sideline. Trey Amos didn't arrive to wait. He came to compete. And Sainristil, with his versatility and energy, has returned to being a key piece in the defensive scheme. Lattimore, if healthy, is a guaranteed presence. And with all that, the space for Igbinoghene narrows. Drastically. But it's precisely in these moments that the NFL reveals its true warriors. Will Noah accept the shadow? Or will he turn the challenge into fuel? Behind the scenes, the coaching staff knows Igbinoghene still has value, especially on special teams where every play is vital. But in a league where tomorrow matters more than yesterday, even reliable veterans become vulnerable. And as a fan, my heart is torn. I want to see the renewal happen. I want to see young players dominate the field, bringing speed, hunger, and aggression. But I also can't ignore what Igbinoghene has already delivered. The safety, the stability, The quiet commitment that doesn't show up in stats but changes the rhythm of a game. Maybe, in the end, the fairest thing is to let the field decide. Let training camp and preseason show who's truly ready to wear the Commanders jersey in 2025. No promises, no privileges, just merit. And while that battle unfolds, we'll be here, following every detail, every matchup, every minute of action as if it were a final. Because at Commanders Fan News today, we don't just talk football. We feel it. So if you want to keep up with the decisions that could change this franchise's destiny, turn on notifications, like this video, and subscribe to the channel now. Washington's journey toward a new era is just beginning, and you won't want to miss a second. As a Commanders fan, it's impossible not to feel a tightness in your chest over this situation. Noah Igbinoghene may not be the most talked-about player on podcasts or the most sought after for interviews, but true followers know how much he delivered when called upon. He arrived quietly, took on a massive responsibility, and helped solidify a secondary full of holes. Watching this kind of player risk being released, even after a solid season, reminds us of how cruel this league can be. Here, sometimes you're not just competing against opponents, you're competing against time, contracts, and narratives. But I also can't ignore what Trey Amos represents. This kid has hunger, instinct, and everything needed to become a defensive cornerstone for years to come. And that excites me, gives me hope. Because after so many seasons trying to find the right defensive pieces, it finally feels like we have a clear plan. Still, if it were up to me, Igbinoghene would have a place on this roster. He can be the bridge between the present and the future, a name that, even outside the main rotation, will continue to contribute off the field. Because championship teams aren't made only of stars, they're made of soldiers, of guys ready to step in and do the dirty work without complaint. If he stays, I'll celebrate. If he leaves, I'll root for him wherever he goes. But above all, I'll trust that this staff knows what it's doing, because what Adam Peters is building isn't just a team. It's a mindset. And as a Commanders fan, I only want to see one thing, a group that takes the field ready to truly fight. And if that's the path, then bring on the next battle. But what's most intriguing in all this is that, even with all the analysis, projections, and internal reports, the truth is still to come. Because at the end of the day, everything will be settled where it matters, on the field. Training camp, pre-season, tactical meetings. Every rep, every snap, every piece of coach feedback will matter. There's no room for comfort anymore. And honestly, I like that. I like seeing a competitive roster where no one has a guaranteed spot, where players like Igbinoghene will have to prove, once again, that they deserve to be there, not because of name, but because of commitment. And at the same time, I like seeing young players like Trey Amos being challenged right away, playing under the pressure of representing a new era. This competition will be one of the most interesting storylines of the preseason. And for us fans, it's an invitation to get even closer, to watch, analyze, debate, and feel. Because that's the magic of the NFL. The unpredictability, the renewal, and the thrill of watching a team take shape before our eyes. And whether with tears or applause, we'll be there. Because rooting for the Commanders isn't just about hoping for wins. It's about understanding the process. It's about valuing what happens behind the scenes. It's about respecting those who build, even if it means letting go of beloved pieces for the greater good of the roster. If you feel all that too, and want to follow every step of this transformation, don't forget to subscribe now to the Commanders Fan News Today channel. Turn on notifications, like this content, and stay with us. Because here, every name matters. Every decision is analyzed. And every fan has a voice. The Commanders' story is changing, and you are part of it.